It was a Saturday night in March of 2017. I had a long weekend, so I went on a road trip with a couple of friends to Tijuana, which is just across the border of San Diego, California. We went to this big club that had more disco balls hanging from the ceiling than chairs for the guests to sit down. So I was dancing, jumping, singing, screaming. You know how there are a lot of songs about people knowing people during a party? One of those songs was playing when I met a very attractive guy. Something about his innocence and his confidence made me feel very attracted to him. We went to talk to a room where the music wasn't as loud. The bartender and a few other people were in that room. We sat down, we started talking, and after a couple of minutes, we kissed. It was the music, the people, the environment that made it all happen. And I was in the middle of making it all happen when two security guards grabbed our shoulders and told us that we have to go. I asked why. They said, "You're not allowed to do that." I replied, "You are not allowed to kick me out for this reason." They simply said, "You have to go." So they grabbed my arm tightly and they walked with me to the exit. Is this what it feels to be arrested? I asked myself. Did I do anything wrong? My immediate reaction was anger because the security guards felt powerful against me as they were taller, wider, and stronger than me. There was nothing that I could have done in that moment to stop them. I couldn't help but wonder if the real world is like those movies based on a high school, where the most powerful or dominant character is a football player that bullies people just because he can. If these are the rules, who invented these rules? And most importantly, how do I change these rules? Because I disagree with them. I woke up the next morning feeling sad because my friends had to leave the club at 1 in the morning with me when all of this happened. Our plan was to stay up all night, and even though it wasn't, even though I didn't do anything wrong, I still felt that it was my fault that the night didn't go as we planned. So I thought, the security guards had more power than me because they used physical force to reinforce the outdated prejudices that the club asked them to sustain. I rejected this idea. I didn't like the idea of people literally forcing me to change part of my essence in order to be part of this place. They were doing this probably not only with me, but with many other customers that go to this club every weekend. Another thought that made me feel devastated was thinking that most likely people from other countries that go to this club might get a wrong impression of what Mexico is. And I didn't want to let one place be the wrong impression of one full country. A country that I truly believe that is not defined by prejudices and violence. Denying a service in Mexico because of your sexual orientation, as well as in many other countries, is illegal. So I decided to speak up because I realized that the more that we tolerate these high school bullies to take what they want, the more they will feel entitled to decide about my personal and intimate decisions that are part of my essence and that I own as a human right. I That morning I posted a couple of paragraphs on Facebook narrating my experience of the previous night. I wrote about how I felt and how it affected me. I posted these paragraphs on my profile and on the official Facebook page of the club. I ended up getting hundreds of positive reactions from friends but also from strangers, and this made me feel better. But most importantly, I realized that I got that much attention because I decided to speak up about this issue. The club is still open, but at least what happened that night didn't end up as another clandestine abuse of power. And the people that read my comments and shared my values stood up with me, reported the club, and shared my story with their friends. So now hundreds of people know what happened in that club. Rules can be sketchy. Rules can be implemented arbitrarily. The fact that something is enforced as a rule or as a law doesn't mean that it's truly appropriate. Do you all remember when slaves were legal and hiding them was not? The Holocaust was legal too, and escaping from the Nazis was considered a crime. In a way lower scale, we follow a set of rules in our regular basis that we just follow because it is the rule to follow these rules. But what if these norms compromise our wellness, our health, our achievements, our life? Sadly, I see thousands of these scenarios in a regular basis. A woman that is being underpaid just because she is a woman. A boss that overloads someone with work that doesn't fit their job description, and this person has to do the job without any additional compensation. A plus size person that is being bullied at school because he is the only plus size person at this school. And his mind absorbed the idea that he is weird and that it is okay to be bullied. And the worst thing is that when you speak up about these issues, people might make you feel like you're out of place. They will say, "You're just being dramatic, go back to work." Or, "This is the way things work here, and if you don't like it, the door is open for you to leave." Or, "Things like this happen all the time, what are you gonna do about it?" You're not being dramatic for speaking up. You're not being problematic for addressing your issues. You're not being irreverent for raising your voice. You're using your power to say no. And that is amazing because when you do that, big things can happen. The history of humanity has shown us that when a lot of people agree on using their power to say no, big transformations can happen in society. The French Revolution stopped the abuse of power of the king. The Me Too movement fights against sexual harassment and sexual assault. The LGBTQ plus movement seeks for equality and justice. So, when and if you see yourself in a situation where you're not being respected, or you're not being paid enough, or your accomplishments, or your life, or your mental health are endangered, remember that you have the power to say no. And that is more than enough to do a good change. Thank you.